Certain Star Wars deleted scenes could have brought so much more to the films in terms of background context, character arc, and world building, while other times seeing a deleted scene is like watching a sitcom without a laugh track. Can you imagine if we added the laugh track?
Going somewhere, Solo.
Today, I am at long last taking a look at more Star Wars deleted scenes, this time from the original 1977 Star Wars A New Hope. I think it's now common knowledge how much of a struggle George Lucas went through getting this film made, and a huge part of that was the editing process. Did you know that his wife at the time, Marsha Lucas, was responsible for making this film actually work in the edit after George fired his previous editor? A lot of people give Marsha credit for saving this film from the cutting room floor, so let's see if she cut the right scenes out. Also, while you're here, consider dropping a bomb on the subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. This is a random shot of an old woman walking on Tatooine. There's a gonk droid in the background also. She walks up, turns around, waves her hands for some reason, says something that we don't hear because there's no audio, and then continues on her way. No idea who this was supposed to be, but I am surprised this did not make it into the special editions. If George was going to re-include all those other shots, plus add all the CGI, why not make this one work? Who is the old woman? Is she the old woman from the end of Rise of Skywalker? Who are you? I'm Rey. Rey who? Perhaps, we're not sure. This is Aunt Beru getting Luke's blue milk from the blue milk dispenser. This is where it all started, people. Also, she has a bowl of what look like small avocados or passion fruit or something. But let me draw your attention to the blue milk dispenser. In universe, clearly it's sensor operated. She puts the thing there and blue milk comes out. But the scene actually still has the original audio from on set where we hear someone call for Charlie. Charlie? Who turns on the blue milk tap. And look at how careless Beru is with the drip. She doesn't even wait for the tap to stop before taking the jug away. Blue milk's just gonna drip all over the kitchen floor, man. It's going everywhere. Which is clearly the reason why they decided to cut this scene, I'm assuming anyway. In the kitchen, we can also see some watermelon here on the left. And this thing on the right here looks similar to that ice cream maker held by Wilro Hood, the infamous Empire Strikes Back ice cream guy who you can actually play as in LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Together, we will deliver the ice cream across the galaxy. Toshi Station is a location we didn't see on screen in Star Wars until it was reintroduced in the Book of Boba Fett. But that location actually came from this deleted scene. Originally, George Lucas wanted to show Luke having a bit of a social life. The scene starts with Luke standing next to a water vaporator and a droid fixing some kind of radio. He then takes out his binoculars and looks up to the sky. See some flashing lights. This is actually supposed to be the Star Destroyer attacking the Tantive 4 from the beginning of the film. He runs to his speeder and wants his skinny droid friend to come along, but like everything else on the set of this film, the droid breaks down. Seriously, if you look into it, the absolute nightmare it was getting all the props and droids to work in the desert. It's a miracle this film was even finished. You might not know, but George Lucas actually had a mental breakdown during post-production and went to hospital just because of stress. So Luke drives from here to Toshi Station to catch up with his mates. Before we go inside, can I just say I am so disappointed we never got to see Bucket Hat Luke in the final film. He never wears this. And the goggles, man, look. So inside Toshi Station, we have Leia's Low-Nosner and Cami Marstrap, and then the one and only Biggs Darklighter. Now this guy is important. And Luke meeting him here and us being introduced to the character kind of makes more sense than him just appearing before the Battle of Yavin later on.
Biggs! I don't believe it! Hey, how are you? How'd you get it?
It provides context to who he actually is, one of Luke's old friends, and we see their relationship in the next few scenes. And oh, and by the way, he's also the man who possesses the greatest mustache in all of Star Wars. Look at that thing. Now, just a little side note. For those of you who watch my LEGO Star Wars series, you'll know that at one point, Biggs Darklighter was actually my greatest enemy. For the longest time, I could not work out how to remove this orange box from the back of my ship. No matter what ship I flew, no matter where I traveled, there it was! The dreaded, evil, cursed orange box! And who put that box on the back of my ship? Biggs Darklighter. During this time, my hatred towards Biggs Darklighter only grew, and his fantastic mustache made everything so much worse. But I expressed this publicly, and this didn't go down well with a certain other YouTuber. I cannot believe the level of disrespect I've just seen on display. I thought you were a good person, Bombastic. You're always nice whenever we had the pleasure of meeting up, but the way you have treated Biggs, when all he wanted to do was move an orange box from one planet to another. Unforgivable. Thanks, Alex. So I did eventually remove the orange box, but I could never forgive Biggs for what he had put me through. So watching this deleted scene, for me, is extra special. And then seeing him die in the Yavin 4 space battle, also, great moment. So back to the deleted scene. Biggs and Luke are happy to see each other. Luke leads Biggs outside to see the battle in the sky. Then for no reason at all, Cami calls Luke wormy.
I think wormy's caught too much sun.
Wormy? What? What does that mean? We'll come back to this. It's important. Okay, so we're outside, and can I just point out that Biggs is wearing a cape? What is it with mustached men in this galaxy wearing capes? Biggs is all like,
"That's no battle, hotshot. The rebellion's a long way from here."
and then Cami calls Luke wormy again.
Don't worry about it, wormy.
I said we'd come back to that, and I said it was important. So for the longest time, no one knew why Cami called Luke wormy. What does it mean? Is there some hidden meaning or background behind this word? Did Luke at one point popularize the worm dance? Up until a few years ago, no one knew. Until, in an interview, Mark Hamill finally revealed the true meaning of wormy. He said, "This beautiful actress calls him wormy. I loved it because you saw that he wasn't well liked by his peers." So it was literally just a derogatory term from Cami, calling Luke wormy randomly. I don't know, it was a George Lucas thing. Clearly, something he thought up. Hey, what's a Star Wars way of making fun of someone? I don't know. We'll get them to call him wormy. George, what were you on that day? Did you know that this entire Toshi Station sequence was supposed to be intercut with the attack on the Tantive 4 at the start of the film? With C-3PO and R2-D2 landing on Tatooine, with Princess Leia trying to avoid being captured and then talking to Darth Vader? All of that was supposed to fall in place, cut in between this.
I think wormy's caught too much sun.
It's supposed to give us some context to Luke. But then, of course, in the final cut, we don't actually meet Luke until he meets up with droids. So, Luke and Biggs are having a drink. Luke is telling a story about crashing his T-16 Skyhopper. He's bonding with his old mate. Biggs says,
"I've missed you, kid."
and Luke's like,
Things haven't been the same without you, Biggs.
man, this writing is more romantic than the love scenes in Attack of the Clones. But then things get even deeper, and we get our first real taste of Star Wars politics.
I didn't come back just to say goodbye. I shouldn't tell you this, but you're the only one I can trust.
It's revealed that he's actually leaving the Empire to join the Rebel Alliance.
We're gonna jump ship and join the Alliance.
The rebellion?
Yes, that's right. Biggs was actually enrolled in the Imperial Academy. That's why he left Tatooine in the first place. And this is something Luke has actually expressed interest in doing himself.
And I want to be on the side I believe in.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm stuck here.
It's crazy to think that so much of what we have in Star Wars today, the broader side of it, all came from this first film. All the ideas of the Empire, their tyrannical rule, the absence of democracy, all started here. Biggs expresses his wavering belief in the Empire, and then he wants to fight for the side he believes in. And then Luke says he was actually enrolled to join the Imperial Academy.
Going to the Academy next term, aren't you?
Luke was gonna be in the Empire. Can you imagine? Luke, a stormtrooper, a TIE fighter pilot. But Luke says he cancelled his application because the Sand People have been a growing problem for Uncle Owen.
No, I'm serious. The Sand People have been getting really crazy. They've even raided the outskirts of Anchorhead.
Come on.
But it's more than that. And both of them realize. Biggs talks about how the Empire is taking over the galaxy. No planet is safe.
What good's all your uncle's work if the Empire takes it over?
And then a sad moment. The two realize they probably won't see each other again. Biggs is leaving in the morning. Luke is stuck here. But he ends by saying,
"You'll always be the best friend I've ever had."
So long, Luke.
it's so sad. Now I understand Biggs more. Biggs, you're not my enemy anymore. I love you. Befriending blue milk addicts everywhere. Maybe you could help Luke with his addiction. Maybe that's why Luke drinks so much blue milk. Because he's lost his best friend. Maybe that's why he became addicted. He went down that spiral. Oh, the poor guy. Had this entire scene with Toshi Station and Biggs being left in, it would have given a lot more context to Luke being so excited to see Biggs just before the Battle of Yavin. That said, I think it's really cool this scene still works regardless of the film not including the deleted scene. Did you know there's an extended version of Biggs's interaction with Luke before the Battle of Yavin? It's not so much their interaction that's interesting though, it's the reference to Anakin Skywalker. Yes, that's right, there's a reference to Anakin Skywalker in A New Hope. Red Leader interrupts their reunion to ask Luke if he can handle his X-Wing. Biggs backs him up by saying he's the best bush pilot in the Outer Rim. And then Red Leader says,
I met your father once when I was just a boy. He was a great pilot. You've got half the skill he had, you'll do all right.
What you might not know is that the entire scene with Biggs wasn't even included in the original release of Star Wars. Biggs was just Red 3.
Red 3 standing by.
And Luke only talked to him over the comms during the attack on the Death Star. The scene with Biggs in the hangar was only added back into Star Wars in the 1997 special editions, which included everything you've seen before apart from this mention of Anakin. This deleted scene shows us some of the most unique footage of Tatooine in all of Star Wars up until The Phantom Menace was made. In the search for R2-D2 deleted scene from A New Hope, C-3PO is actually driving Luke's landspeeder, and we get some first-person footage flying over the Tatooine desert, similar to what we see in the pod race in The Phantom Menace. This scene also includes a mention of Ben Kenobi living out this way somewhere.
Oh, Ben lives out in this direction somewhere. It's just, I don't see how that R2 unit could have come this far.
And Luke telling 3PO Uncle Owen will probably deactivate him at some point for losing R2.
Uncle Owen's not going to take this very well. Probably only deactivate you for a day or so. Deactivate?
This scene is supposed to come before Luke is attacked by the Tuskens and then saved by Ben. And apparently wasn't included in the film because George didn't like the visual effects. Luke and 3PO aren't actually moving, the landspeeder isn't moving. Instead, the background is moving behind them to make it seem like the landspeeder is speeding through the desert. I guess George could have fixed this in the special editions, but clearly didn't think the scene added anything to the film. This here is a rough cut of the Cantina scene from A New Hope. Did you know that the Cantina scene was actually shot twice? Once in England, which is the footage you're seeing here, and then once in California, where new aliens and creatures were added to the scene to give it more depth and personality. So I never knew the bartender was dubbed. This is what he originally sounded like.
Hey! We don't serve their kind here.
What?
Your droids, they left to wait outside. We don't want them here.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
And this is what he sounds like in the final film.
We don't serve their kind here. Your droids, they'll have to wait outside. We don't want them here.
A lot of the famous Cantina aliens aren't actually in this version because they were the ones shot in California after George decided he wasn't happy with this version of the scene. Also, the shots of Han talking to this woman weren't included in the final cut. According to Wikipedia, her name is Jenny. Oh wow, Dr. Evazan was also dubbed. Listen to this thick British accent.
He doesn't like you. I don't like you either. You just watch yourself.
He doesn't like you. I don't like you either. Just watch yourself. You'll be dead.
So Jenny's scenes with Han, like I said, were completely cut from the film. She was actually still sitting at the table when Ben and Luke come to talk business, and Han tells her to go away.
Sweetheart.
This scene also includes a few extra shots of Chewbacca's reactions to what Luke and Ben are saying, but apart from that, it's mostly the same. Did you know that Greedo actually had voice lines before George gave him an alien voice?
Going somewhere, Solo. But it's too late. I'm not going back to Jabba with another one of your stories.
And look at his hand. I'm glad George changed his hand to a much more normal human hand because Greedo holding this blaster with these long fingers looks ridiculous. Han also has a couple different lines in their interaction.
I don't think they'd like another killing in here.
They'd hardly notice.
And guess what? Han actually shoots first, just like he did in the original, because this is the original. Of course he shoots first. This is one of the goofiest Star Wars deleted scenes I have ever seen. The costumes are ridiculous, the character's absurd. This guy runs through the streets, then runs between these two giant legs, which walk out from behind the camera. What? Stormtroopers enter frame and begin searching door to door for R2 and 3PO. A few more extras walk by. This guy has some giant lump under his shirt. Probably smuggling drugs or something. I don't know, death sticks. And this guy is wearing like a sumo wrestler suit. Can you imagine if this got left in? This is one of those scenes that is so dated, looks so 1970 special effects. It could have destroyed Star Wars. There's also a blue-green astromech droid in the background. Don't know where they got that. Wow. What a scene. The deleted scene where Darth Vader orders for the search to be widened for the rebels in A New Hope.
It's just a matter of time before we find the droids. Send in more troops if you have to.
Was actually used in the Star Wars Holiday Special.
It's just a matter of time before we find the rebels.
I want the rebels located and identified.
But what I find most interesting about it is that this guy literally calls Tarkin a fool.
Till then, we waste time with Governor Tarkin's foolish plan to break her.
He thinks Tarkin is foolish. Dude, do you know who Tarkin is? I think in doing so, this guy is literally, it's a death sentence. He's literally asking to be killed. Darth Vader's just going to turn to you and just like... From A New Hope, there's actually an extended version of the Imperial meeting on the Death Star. And in this extended version, we get the first ever on-screen mention of a Sith Lord. General Tagg refers to Darth Vader as a Sith Lord, saying he will be the Empire's undoing.
This Sith Lord sent by the Emperor will be our undoing.
And he was quite right. Darth Vader was eventually the one to defeat the Emperor. But this is the only time Sith Lords were mentioned in the original trilogy, and it's in a deleted scene. But it wasn't until The Phantom Menace that we got our first proper in-universe, on-screen mention of Sith Lords.
My only conclusion can be that it was a Sith Lord.
There are more New Hope deleted scenes out there. I'm sure there are some that are still yet to be released somewhere in the Lucasfilm archives. And there are a few random shots and lines here and there which I didn't include in this, but if you know of another specific deleted scene, please let me know. I'd love to talk about it. Also, what's your favorite? Which of these do you think could have been included in the film and would have still been great? I've made more deleted scenes videos in the past. If you want to watch one of those, you can click one of these links here. Also, consider subscribing for more. Stick around. It's going to be fun. And thanks for watching this, guys. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.
Stay bombastic.